Sorry, I needed a moment to compose myself. Holy cow, guys. I don't usually gravitate towards post-apocalyptic genres, and it did take me a little bit to get going with reading this, but what a gorgeous and well-written work. Well done, my good author. I look forward to exploring more of your books. Let's start where it makes the most sense, with a summary. Trans boy teen Benji escapes from the religious cult that started the apocalypse and infected him with a terrible virus that only grows stronger in him as the days pass. Benji, in his escape, is rescued by the local LGBTQ Center survivors group, and from there the story unfolds through murder, mayhem, and a lot of affection. I'm forcing myself to focus on one thing in depth for this video, but I will briefly touch upon other things that are also well done and would likely deserve their own in-depth videos. World building. White constructed a world, cities, and layouts of buildings and places paired with their post-apocalypse functions that make sense for the world they exist in. There's a clear difference in vocabulary and thinking from within the cult to those outside of it. There's also epigraphs at the beginning of each chapter that are pieces of text from within the universe that Hell Followed With Us exists within. White has artfully created a world that is both familiar to us and unfamiliar enough that the story feels like it could be real. White also has a fantastic way of creating twists and turns that make sense. I can go back into the story and pick out the way those turns were built. While they still feel like turns, they didn't feel out of the blue and still succeeded in making me gasp out loud as I read on. I must hand it to this author. Well done. However, my focus for this video will be on character growth, a more finished subset of character building. Character building is establishing a person, where character growth works in with the story's environment and is usually an integral part to the plot. The typical character growth direction is a character becoming a better person, although it doesn't have to be this way. A character could also become more evil. Mind you, this is a boiled down linear explanation. Character growth isn't going up or down a hill. Sometimes it can also be like riding a roller coaster. The character changes depending on how a character is set up and the narrative, and changes happen over the course of a full story, a book, or sometimes a series of books. I've said it before and I'll say it again, a story and a character's actions need to make sense. It does not make sense for them to behave completely differently between scenes for no reason. You must make it make sense either through displayed slow change or later explanation. In Hell Followed With Us, White does this masterfully through this repeated idea in Benji's mind of "I'll be good." The opening idea of the book is that for Benji to be good, he must get away from the cult and try to suppress the virus he was infected by. This idea of good comes from his late father. Being good means being quiet, obedient, turning away from the virus's power the same way Eve should have turned from the apple. Page 7. But even on that page, there are conflicting ideas of what being good means. This conflict in Benji's mind and the possible influence of the virus. The main idea, though, is good is hiding away. And to re-emphasize, I will be good. I will be good. I will keep Seraph hidden, locked up in my chest, whatever it takes to make sure the angels never get the weapon they made of me. Page 13. Further clarification. Seraph is the virus, and the angels are the cult. As we read on, we find this early start of the shift of the idea of the repeated, I'll be good, I'll be good, I'll be good, page 43. Away from hiding and into something different, something more active. As much as I want to read the entire page, I'll just read this. Make them suffer. On the surface, there's no way to do that and be good. They're commandments at each other's throats. But I found more good in helping Nick, in whispering to the Grace, than I ever could if I kept Seraph hidden. Maybe if I joined the ALC, I can do both. Page 44. Further clarification, Graces are monsters made from the virus. The ALC is the local queer group. Further events happen in the book that warrant the watch, the militant protector part of the ALC becoming more offensive in their attacks, and further cement Benji as less of a new face and more of an integral part of the team. This also cements further that changed idea of good from hiding to fighting. I will be good. I will make them suffer, and I will take the angels' greatest weapon and turn it against them. Page 130. And Benji does just that. It is through the pushes and pulls, the conflicts that build, that Benji learns and grows with the abilities that the virus gives him and his understanding of the world. In the end, good is finding a way to keep his friends safe. Page 274. In the end, the good the world needs right now is teeth and claws and a taste for blood. Page 279. I think it's really interesting to look back over the book on the two solidified ideas of good that it establishes that are not in Benji's mind. Benji's dad's idea of good, which Benji agrees with. Dad begged me to tamp it down, to be quiet, to be better than what the angels had done to me. Page 130. and the angel's idea of good, which is using Seraph as a tool to wash the world in blood, page 321. Basically, to slaughter anyone who is not a true believer according to the views of the cult. Benji's character growth is displayed through this idea of what being good means to him, shaped by his experiences and those around him, and it ends up shifting from his dad's idea of good to almost a mirror of the cult's idea of good, just turned against the cult. Hell Followed With Us is a fantastic story that, among many things, acts as a good example of character growth, especially as it uses the idea of what good means to its main character Benji as a tool to display that growth. I know I said I was going to focus on one thing, but I want to take a step back away to talk about this too. We do not live in a vacuum. Every author's writing is informed by the author's experiences in the world, whether they intentionally work it into their story or not. This is a story that reflects a queer kid with a Christian family. I'm not speaking on White's experiences because I do not know what his experiences are, but I speak on many that are too common within the queer community. Being good means praying the gay away, tamping it down to the perfect version of whatever the church and your family wants you to be. But it hurts, and things will eventually come out. While terrifying, it can be a breath of fresh air and freedom to be open, find community that loves you and accepts you like no one else, and fight to keep each other alive. To my queer community, keep telling your stories, and until next time, pick up a pen and start reading.